White people back in the day came up with classical music with all these unbelievable instruments, oboes, clarinets, grand pianos, harps. I mean, it just goes on and on. And then they wrote down these, Beethoven, Mozart, this complicated, unbelievable classical music that if you'll let yourself go and into it and understand it, will take you to places that no other music can. And then what do we have? Jazz. That was black culture's influence on that kind of highbrow music, and they came with this improvised, unscripted, just from the heart, without that kind of writing it down and that kind of effort and all the things that go into Western education. This idea of building on something and starting small. It was just improvised, and it was a lesser music than, you still have the very top people, the very rich people, they still go to these classical music concerts because it doesn't equal that. It's much more accessible. It's easier for the population to feel. And so it's spread really well because of that. And then we have what's next is blues and its effect, rock and roll, which is a further diminution of the whole Western musical idea. And this is very simplistic chords. There's just two or three, a lot of screaming. It's very sexual. The people just dress, insanely, like they're trying to destroy every norm. And this is rock and roll when I was a kid. I mean, I'm talking Rolling Stones, uh, Led Zeppelin. They're trying to tear everything in Western culture apart, and they're rebelling against the constraints of Western culture. And it is those constraints on sexuality. Because we all have this unbelievable sex drive, and we want to sleep with everybody. And the West figured out that societally we need to control that and have marriage. And, once you try to elevate yourself by controlling your basic impulses, that's when you rise to the level of building airplanes and skyscrapers and classical music. And when you let that go and you go back to that base sexual drive like rock and roll, then you're falling, you're coming apart, everything you're building is shattering. And now it's gone from rock and roll into rap, which is not even music. It's not even musical. The people don't sing. Black people have beautiful voices and they don't even use them in this stuff. And it's about hatred and anger and, pumping that into people constantly is just a good way to ruin their lives. And so the whole thing musical has been a devolution. It's been terrible. And we need to look at that and see why that is and what we can do to maybe turn it around.